Comrades, my name is Keir Starmer, and I'm here to fuck the foundations. When I became your Prime Minister, not only did I get new hair and glasses provided by a donor who now has full access to 10 Downing Street and my bedroom, we were promised three things. Keir Starmer says he's prepared to make some unpopular decisions, but beware of this, it's a sleight of hand. Keir Starmer is frickin' fully Kim Jong-Starmer, isn't he?
The Modernisation Committee
will look at the advantages of outside paid engagement such as media appearances.
Good evening and welcome. In the grand theatre of politics, every leader is, first and foremost, an actor. The image they project to the world is both their armour and their weapon. Armour to shield their vulnerabilities and a weapon with which to attack their opponents. Strength, composure, control, these are all parts of a meticulously calculated performance. But what happens when the curtain falls mid-show? What happens when the lead actor is forced off script, even for a single, fleeting second, before the eyes of millions? Tonight we're not talking about policy or economics, but about a far more profound and revealing moment. The moment the Prime Minister's smile froze, his body stiffened, and everything he sought to conceal was laid bare. It was an unscripted clash, a direct collision between polished composure and deliberate chaos, and that one moment may well have reshaped the public's perception of him forever.
Precisely. What we witnessed wasn't just a television debate, it was a live psychological autopsy. For years, the Prime Minister has carefully curated his brand. He is the man who never loses his cool, the rational professional, impervious to pressure. This image is specifically designed to appeal to an electorate tired of drama, who crave a sense of stability. But that night, a figure entered the ring who represents the absolute antithesis of that. A character who follows no rules, who believes rules are there to be broken. Her objective wasn't to debate, it was to detonate. And she succeeded quite spectacularly, because she understood that even the strongest armour has a weak point.
Let's delve into her tactics. The confrontation didn't begin with overt hostility. The questions were, at first, conventional, but the challenger then changed tack with a rather venomous precision. She completely ignored the policy files and the complex discussions and aimed her arrows directly at the very core of his character, at his credibility, his loyalty, and the past he tries to move beyond. The question was no longer, "What will you do for us?" but rather, "Can we believe a single word you say? Who are you, really, behind that mask?"
And that is exactly the shift that threw him off balance. She moved the debate from a political arena, where he is skilled and rehearsed, to a raw, personal one, where he was utterly exposed. The Prime Minister's authority doesn't stem from a fiery charisma or passionate conviction. It stems from the illusion of complete control over every variable. The moment that illusion was shattered, what remained behind it looked strangely and alarmingly hollow. We saw it plainly in his body language. And the audience is intelligent enough to have picked up on it. People stopped listening to the polished words and instead watched the slight tremor in his hands on the table, the lips pressed so tightly together as if to physically stop his true thoughts from escaping, and the harsh glare that flashed in his eyes for a split second. His body was screaming what his mouth refused to say.
It's astonishing, isn't it, how that tiny shift in his expression, those micro-expressions that last barely a moment, became the entire story. Social media simply erupted. It was no longer about who won the debate. It became a digital phenomenon. People weren't discussing policy points. They were creating animated GIFs of that exact second, the second his smile vanished. The dialogue became about his reaction, not his words, as if that single moment revealed a deeper truth than any political speech ever could.
Because his reaction was a silent, undeniable confession. Politicians are well practiced at handling tough questions from journalists, but those journalists operate within a set of professional rules. The challenger that night
was playing an entirely different game. She entered swinging, alluding to some alleged evidence she possessed, something the Prime Minister would rather keep hidden. She didn't even have to reveal what it was. The mere suggestion of a secret, the mere act of planting a seed of doubt, was enough to completely destabilize him. The threat of the unknown proved far more potent than any known fact.
And that is the crucial psychological point. Once you plant the idea that something is being hidden, the audience's entire focus shifts to how the politician handles that allegation. Will he respond with force, with humour, or will he freeze? He unfortunately chose the latter. His silence and his rigid body language spoke more volumes than any denial could have. He looked like a man cornered, terrified of losing control, and that look is the very antithesis of the image he has spent years building.
And that is what transformed him, in the eyes of many, from a confident leader into a vulnerable figure. People may forget the statistics and figures he quoted in that studio, but they will never forget that look. They won't forget seeing the man who presents himself as a steady rock, visibly shaken. That is the moment that will stick in their minds. With his stiffness, he confirmed everything the challenger wanted the country to see, that behind the smooth, polished performance, there is a fragility and a fear he would rather hide at all costs.
In conclusion, what we witnessed goes beyond one man or one debate. It reflects a deeper shift in what we expect from our leaders. This incident wasn't just an attack on a man, it was an exposé of how fragile the foundations of authority become when they are built on composure rather than on authenticity. However messy that authenticity might be, it proved that leadership built on charm and polish can withstand controlled environments, but all it takes is a single, unscripted, genuine moment to alter a reputation entirely.
Which leaves us with a bigger question for the future. In a world that craves truth and despises artifice, is there still a place for the overly polished leader? Or does the public now prefer a leader who shows their flaws over one who pretends to be perfect? If you appreciate this kind of in-depth analysis that goes beyond the headlines, we invite you to support us. Please subscribe to our channel, Alert View, hit the like button, and share this video. Your support is what allows us to continue. And now, we leave you with this question for the comments section. In your view, what is more important in a leader today? Polished professionalism and control? Or raw authenticity, even if it means showing weakness? We want to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching.